Game of Thrones, ladies and gentlemen. The best of the best. Game of Thrones is the American fantasy drama television series created by David Benioff and G.B. Weiss of HBO. It is an adaptation of A Song of Ice and Fire, a series of fantasy novels by George R.R. Martin, the first of which is Game of Thrones. The show was shot in the United Kingdom, Canada, Croatia, Ireland, Malta, Morocco, and Spain. It premiered on HBO in the United States on April 17, 2011, and concluded on May 19, 2019, with 73 episodes broadcast over 8 seasons, set on the fictional convenient continent of Westeros and Essos. Game of Thrones has a large ensemble cast and follows several story arcs throughout the course of the show. The first major arc concerns the Iron Throne of the Seven Kingdoms of Westeros. Through a web of political conflicts among the noble families, either vying to claim the thrones or fighting for independence from whoever sits on it. A second focuses on the last descendant of the realm's deposed ruling dynasty, who has been exiled to Essos and is plotting to return and reclaim the throne. The third follows the Night's Watch, a military order defending the realm against threats from beyond Westeros' northern border. Game of Thrones attracted a record viewership on HBO and has a broad, active, and international fan base. Critics have praised the series for its acting, complex characters, story, scope, and production values, although its frequent use of nudity and violence, including sexual violence, has been subject to criticism. The final season received significant critical backlash for its reduced length and creative decisions, with many considering it a disappointing conclusion. Me too, I did. The series received 59 Primetime Emmy Awards, the most by a drama series, including Outstanding Drama Series in 2015, 16, 18, and 19. Its other awards and nominations include 3 Hugo Awards for Best Dramatic Presentation, a Peabody Award, and 5 nominations for the Golden Globe Award for Best Television Series Drama. Many critics and publications have named the show as one of the best television series of all time. Yeah. The series has been praised by both television critics and historians for what was perceived as a sort of medieval realism. George R.R. Martin set out to make the story feel more like historical fiction than contemporary fantasy, with less emphasis on magic and sorcery and more on battles, political intrigue, and the characters believing that magic should be used moderately in the epic fantasy genre. Martin has said that the true horrors of human history derive not from orcs and dark lords but from ourselves. Academics have classified the series as neo-medieval, which focuses on the overlapping of medieval history and popular fantasy. A common theme in the fantasy genre is the battle between good and evil, which Martin says does not mirror the real world. Martin explores the relationship between good and evil through the questions of redemption and character change. The series allows the audience to view different characters from their perspective, unlike in many other fantasies. In early seasons, under the influence of A Song of Ice and Fire book, main characters were regularly killed off, and this was credited with developing tension among viewers. It is. Martin stated in an interview that he wanted to depict war and violence in a realistic way, which sometimes means the hero or main characters should be injured or killed. In later seasons, critics pointed out that certain characters had developed plot armor to survive in unlikely circumstances and attributed this to Game of Thrones deviation from the novels to become more of a traditional television series. In 2012 study, out of 40% television drama shows, Game of Thrones ranked second in depth per episode, averaging 14. A scientific study conducted in 2018 stated that about 60% of the major characters died as a result of violence and war. There are a lot of surveys and polls out there that try to determine the best TV shows ever. A lot of time that means just putting up a poll on Twitter, on Reddit, or wherever and letting people have at it. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's a lot of fun, but it's not exactly rigorous, and the results are generally pretty skewed based on the latest particular sample population, if you could say. Market research company on poll is a little more systematic. Teaming up with YouTube TV, they conducted a survey of 2,000 US adults to ask them about their favorite TV shows. The results are a little different from what you will get on your average internet poll. There are plenty of shows on there you would expect to see, but also some curveballs. Take a look. For the first place, we have Friends. For 43%, the respondent named this show. We have the second place, Seinfeld, for 40%. Game of Thrones came for the third place with 37%. Well, naturally, I'm always happy to see Game of Thrones represented and at such high placement. I'm not surprised to see Judgment like Friends and Seinfeld represented first. I feel like those kinds of shows might not end up on top of normal internet poll, but if you actually poll Americans at random, big shows like that are what we remember. So guys, that was pretty much everything. See you next video. Bye.